I mean, look, the effort of the Rwandese army and the M23 to capture Goma led to a situation where more than 3,000 people died. 3,000 people died. Their current advances have also resulted in hundreds of people dying. This massacre must stop. This massacre cannot be tolerated by any civilized world, and it ought to stop. If you look at what is happening in the Congo now, it sends chilling signals to all those who believe in the African dream, and even to peoples all over the world. And so, what does sovereignty really mean? I think we are getting to the era of strong men and strong countries doing as they please. As if we support what is happening, if we are quiet about what is happening, what we're actually saying is that if you are strong, you can get into anybody's territory and take it over. And the world will look on sheepishly and so on. Now, Rwanda no longer denies that it is involved in the Congo. In fact, in one of the interviews that Paul Kagame granted, he was asked directly whether Rwandan troops are in the Congo, and his answer was that, I don't know. How is that possible? President of Rwanda, he doesn't know whether his soldiers are in the Congo or not. But since then, he's made other statements which admit that his forces are there. He has said that his forces are in the Congo in order to protect his country against extremists and so on. That is no justification for entering into another country and behaving in the manner that Rwanda has behaved. Now, over the last week or two, it has also become very clear that the army of the DRC is not in a position to fight. Because these rebels supported by the Rwandese are not meeting any resistance, you understand? And it's clear that they are marching towards Kinshasa. Now, I've had very disturbing reports, from people that I've spoken with who are in the DRC and others who actually claim that the prominent people in the country, like Tshisekedi himself and ministers and so on, are sending their children and relatives out of the country. That's a bad sign. That's a realization that they may not be able to defend Kinshasa or hold on to power. And if these reports are true, it will suggest very strongly that the government of Tshisekedi is becoming history, if it has not already become history. Now, what is the solution? South Africa sent an interventionist force into the Congo. And it appears that the interventionist force that South Africa sent into the Congo has not been able to achieve anything. I mean, in spite of their presence, these M23 rebels and the Rwandese are just walking over and so on. Now, there's something which is very interesting about M23. M23 is actually now led by the electoral commissioner, the head of the electoral commission of the Congo, who declared Tshisekedi winner in the elections. How does this make sense? Now, sometimes we try to reduce what is happening in the Congo to an ethnic conflict. That's worrying, because the Congo has 44 different ethnic groups. So if the whole crisis is reduced to ethnicity and so on, I don't see how we're going to solve this problem. I think it's important to go back to Osadifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and his solution, not just for the Congo, but for the whole of the African continent. At the Organization of African Unity meeting in Addis Ababa, I think, in 1963, Nkrumah set forth the framework for resolving these conflicts. And Nkrumah says, look, We Africans were not at the Berlin Conference. We divided our continent. But for peace to prevail, let us respect the colonial boundaries for now, as we work towards the achievement of continental unity. And I think that that's a blueprint for the resolution of these crises, not just in the Congo, but in many other areas, you know, in Africa. I want to see the government of Ghana playing a more decisive role in finding a solution to this crisis. I am disturbed that the government of Ghana appears almost silent on the crisis in the Congo. Given the weight of Ghana, the weight of Ghana, the political weight of Ghana on the continent, especially with regards to the Congo, I expect to see the government of Ghana playing a more decisive role, pushing ahead and trying to find a solution. I think the first most important decision that ought to be taken is a cessation of fighting. The fighting must stop immediately. The killing must stop. I mean, I have a friend, you know, who works with us in Pan-African television. Last week, in one day, he lost his uncle, lost 3 cousins, all in one day. The same day, some of his cousins, female cousins, were raped and so on. How can we tolerate this? How can we tolerate this? So this war must come to an end. And I am shocked that no clear decisions were taken by the AU meeting, you know, in Addis Ababa recently. This war must stop. And I'm calling on the government of Ghana to play a decisive role in bringing an end to this war, immediate end to this war. Ultimately, we want to see all Rwandese forces withdrawn from the Congo. All foreign forces must withdraw from the Congo, and the Congo must be given the opportunity to rebuild itself as an independent sovereign republic.